Hey, what's up everyone? This is going to be an update video regarding the current situation which is taking place in much of the United States East Coast. This Bombogenesis, or bomb cyclone as the term has been coined for these types of weather events, is wreaking havoc on the East Coast right now. And if you live there, I send well wishes and prayers and lots of positivity to you for just the best of luck and best of fortune, just good fortune to for all of us, really, everyone in the United States, not just the East Coast, but everyone, as these storms are becoming more common, and as storms can pop up anywhere now. So anyone dealing with storms, I send well wishes. But this storm is very powerful as it finally begins to push out. It did not last as many days as some previous storms have, but this storm was stated to have been over 900 miles. So, a definite large storm, and homes are underwater and thousands are without power. I believe at one point it was reported that over 2,200,000 or so individuals were without power, and if I'm not mistaken, around 7 individuals or more died because of this storm. The deadly storm finally pushes out, but there are some videos of the bomb cyclone ripping through the East Coast that are passing, well, being passed around online. If this video will play, this is one of them, I believe. Just these massive waves and massive downpours of rain as this bomb cyclone is currently slamming the East Coast of the United States. The wind, the rain, and not only the wind and rain taking place, but a pretty good amount of snow, with winds nearly 100 miles per hour. Once I last checked, that's what they stated. I believe the winds have died down a bit as of right now to 50 or 60 miles per hour, maybe, according to documentation that has been surfacing online regarding this system. But they stated that this storm it's definitely one for the record books, that's for sure. But this, I'll just call it a northeastern storm, because that term really doesn't shorten it much. Calling it a nor'easter does not really shorten it, but by 2 letters, so that really doesn't do anything. But not before it knocked out power. So much electricity, perhaps for days, for more than 900,000 customers. That was just from the mid-Atlantic to New England. People in these homes need to plan for prolonged outage, they state. The director of Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency stated on Friday night that this is a multi-day restoration event, so it's going to take a long time to restore. Well, a considerable amount of time, which means days in this case, hopefully not like weeks, months, or years, but they're just, by a considerably long amount of time, they mean multiple days it could take to get some individuals without power as they begin to try to restore conditions back to as best as possible with electricity. The flooding is the worst we've seen in years in that area, he stated. This individual's from Massachusetts Police Department, which had carried out more than 250 rescues between 8 a.m. Friday and midday and mid-morning on Saturday. We're seeing homes underwater. Their basements were flooded out, the electricity was off, and it was just a very, very serious situation. Emergency officials urged residents on higher ground to stay indoors even after the storm pushed out. I know in the central and southern United States, we've been dealing with a lot of rain and a lot of flooding, and I know that's been bad enough in these areas, so I can imagine what a superstorm like this would bring. About 92% of customers in Scituate, Massachusetts, home to an estimated 18,000 or so residents, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, last checked, are without electricity right now, according to James Boudreau, however you pronounce his name. The town's administrator stated on Saturday afternoon that it would be up to at least 72 hours before power was fully restored and individuals get their electricity back. Nearly 15 million people were still under coastal flood warnings on Saturday afternoon. The storm morphed Friday into what's known as a quote-unquote bomb cyclone after undergoing rapid pressure drops known as Bombogenesis, and it slammed much of the northeast with heavy snow and heavy rain and extreme winds, prompting significant coastal flooding and hurricane-force gusts and winds in New England. These winds whipped in excess of 90 miles per hour, and they are finally due to ease tonight on Saturday night. The storm also dumped heavy snow from Ohio to New England and into upstate New York, where more than 3 feet was recorded. So, some individuals are having no phone connection or weak phone connection, and they're trying to get this restored. So you can also text and try to message the news agencies to let them know your situation that's taking place in your area. There have been 900,000 individuals or customers that have been logged without power. They've been logged in as without power in the system on Saturday from Virginia to Massachusetts, and that's just in those areas. And there was about, I believe, a little over 2,200,000 individuals without power or without electricity as of last night. Coastal flooding, shoreline communities, they saw another round of moderate to major flooding Saturday afternoon during the high tide, and this full moon scenario was not helping that situation at all with the tides. But with Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency forecasting a storm surge from 2.5 to 4 feet along the coast, it's still a situation to take precaution of, basically. The aftermath response, well, the governors of Maryland, Virginia, and Massachusetts, they issued emergency declarations, obviously, and they issued in a state of emergency immediately, allowing state and local agencies to actually get the help they need to the affected areas. They'll be sending out the National Guard and thousands of officials to help these individuals in need. At least that's what they stated, and multiple flight cancellations have taken place across those areas. 5 have been killed alone by falling trees. 5 individuals alone were killed by falling trees. So this is some of the damage from the falling trees. And Boston is underwater, and many places that were underwater were they're not able to get water. So you have all this water, but you're not able to get actual fresh water, clean water. And historic flooding is taking place and is prompting multiple rescues to take place. So this is definitely a historic set of events taking place. And you should have seen the radar image of this storm. It covered the entire... It looked like a giant hurricane, basically. That bomb cyclone looked like a giant hurricane. So this is some of the latest news taking place regarding this bomb cyclone, or bombogenesis, as the term, as the term goes. So it was official. I was correct on that. There were at least 7 currently, according to last count, that are individuals that are dead from this storm. That massive northeastern storm right now that's been strengthening rapidly is finally beginning to move out of the area, but it's been dubbed that bomb cyclone. This is the update information on this. It was a catastrophe for the area, and it was much stronger than the one, according to the documents and the official reports coming in. It is much stronger than the one that took place back in January. And from the National Weather Service and the Weather Channel, and if I'm not mistaken, AccuWeather and Weather.com I believe those sources reported that there is another storm coming in behind this storm, as if you would see during springtime, or not springtime, but during storm season. So we haven't even begun to see storm season really take off, and we're seeing these situations take place. The climate and the weather patterns are showing right now similar conditions to what you'd see during storm season, according to their documentation from weather.com and AccuWeather. So the latest from multiple weather sources basically were stating that we're seeing another storm forming right now, like you'd see during the storm season. Heavy snow fell across much of the interior northeast, so much of these areas received even up to 10 inches of rain. And this individual here tweeted out, "Very snowy outside my parents' house in Pennsylvania." So after dealing with all this flooding, then they dealt with the snow, and some places before and some places after dealt with that. So these areas right here, the heavy rain and flooding and whipping winds, and then now all the snow, and there's the snow with the flooding and the heavy rain and the winds all together. It's like just literally just, it's just chaos with that system. This was another video which was posted to Twitter and ABC News as well. It's a 12-second video of the surge as this storm was approaching. So this was in its early stage as it was actually just hitting the coast. And yes, there it is. Yeah, I was correct on that. And that was not just the preliminary reports, but the actual official reports stated there are over 2,200,000 customers without power across the entire Northeast Friday evening. Power was restored to less than 2/3 of those customers, though, by 9:30 p.m. So it left 700,000 customers still in the dark, though. These are some of the electrical lines, the power lines. You can see the transformers and everything. It's just a total mess, but obviously some of the lights and some of the electricity is still working, because you can see the traffic lights, the red lights and everything. The traffic lights are still working, but it basically depends on where. A Pennsylvania school bus was toppled over by high winds. No students were on board, thankfully, and the driver's injuries were minor. Check out the snow here. That's with the school bus. Authorities reported this. So this is my reports on this. There are truck drivers and vehicles, pedestrians, individuals, homes, businesses, trees everywhere, damage, power, the electrical lines down, light poles, electrical lines and things like that, which are basically the same thing. I just trying to figure out the proper name to call it, but this Jeep was, yeah, that's a Jeep. It looks like destroyed by trees being down, so it's a serious, severe situation, damaging many areas in the East Coast. It was a mixed bag of everything. So in Washington, D.C., they got 71 mile per hour winds, 62 mile per hour at the Reagan International Airport, and several other areas, and schools were closed. The federal government also shuttered all of its offices. So definite serious situation. Multiple videos being posted online, pictures. These images were shared on Twitter and multiple social media formats. Blizzard warnings were also issued for parts of upstate New York, which saw 50 mile per hour winds. Some places saw 90 mile per hour winds, as I mentioned above, and around 100 mile per hour winds. Parts of New York, Pennsylvania, and northwest New Jersey were also likely to see 1 to 2 feet of snow through Friday evening. That was predicted then, so that did all play out as predicted. It was sort of a last-minute prediction, though, because they did not see this coming. They did not really talk about this before it really took place. They didn't really give very much time to be aware of this situation, but I just seen it on Friday. They reported it Thursday evening and Friday morning. By Friday night, this storm had pulled away, leaving lingering rain and snow for coastal spots from Atlantic City to Boston. So that was the forecast. That did come into play. That did turn out exactly pretty much like what you see here. At least that I believe it did. Let me know if you live in that area and if you're doing well, if you have internet connection or cell phone connection or any kind of a communication connection. I know in situations like this, communications and the grid can go down. So let me know. Communication is usually affected during situations like this, but I just wanted to give you an update regarding the current situation taking place on much of the United States East Coast with this Bombogenesis bomb cyclone. So this has been an update video regarding it. There has been a lot of damage, a lot of electrical issues, a lot of power outages, and a lot of storms in within this huge storm. A lot of definitely a lot of calamity. Anyway, luckily it is moving away from the United States, as sadly apparently another storm is forming and on its way to the United States East Coast. So I'll keep you updated and monitor the current situations and let you know in the next video. Don't want to keep going on too long. Probably already have. If I have, I'm sorry. Much love. Thank you for watching. You can email me at the email I post below. You can message me in the comment section on YouTube, or you can also privately message me on YouTube as well. Much love. Thanks for watching. Peace. Stay safe. Bye.